Well, number one, people are still protesting. The officers have all been arrested. So I cannot lie and say that the protesting and stuff did not work, because obviously it did, because all four men have been arrested. Okay, the autopsy came back and George Floyd had fentanyl in his system, cannabinoids. He had been alcohol. He had heart disease. He had sickle cell anemia, or the trait for sickle cell anemia, and he had COVID-19. He was asymptomatic of COVID-19. Now, George's criminal record and his toxicology report came out, which made him look not so positive in the public. And everybody should know that the court of public opinion is what is really the news and people, citizens, and their opinions of George Floyd. There are two things going on which is dividing the country, because you have one group of people, black, whites, Latino, Hispanic, that do not agree with George Floyd, do not agree with his criminal record, and do not agree with the toxicology report. They are standing for him, and they are saying that George Floyd mattered, Black lives mattered, all life mattered. Then you have another set of citizens that are saying that George Floyd is a drug addict. He is a thief, a robber. He is a drug addict. He does not deserve what's going on. People are outraged. This is what the other group of people think of George Floyd. They just think he's a bad person and we shouldn't be protesting for him. So those are the two perspectives that are going on. Now, if you disagree with George Floyd and you feel that we shouldn't be doing all this for a person who's doing crime, the other group is saying you don't have a right to feel that way, you don't have a right to say that, and you shouldn't be allowed to speak your opinion or your disagreement with the George Floyd issue. So freedom of speech is being obstructed by other people, because if you disagree with everything that's going on, then you are considered a coon or a person that's stupid or dumb, or you are against your own, you got self-hatred and things like that. And I'm like, well, not everybody is going to be in agreement with the riots, and everybody's not going to agree with George Floyd and his position and what happened to him. Not everybody agrees with that. So we should understand that, everybody's not going to agree. And I know that. But to call other people coons and say that they're against the race because they disagree, there are some things I disagree with when it comes to George Floyd. Like, his criminal record makes me question a lot of things about him. I mean, it just does. That doesn't mean that he deserved to die. I don't agree with that. But I don't agree with, his troubled life, because then that shows that he had some issues at home with his parents because he was in and out of jail. So that makes me understand that this brother was troubled as well. Just like Ahmaud Arbery was troubled. But that doesn't mean that I feel as if they deserve to be punished this way. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with the higher creator. And I think the creator is behind all of these things that are going on. But that's just me. But anyway, back to what everybody else is thinking. Basically, the people that disagree with George Floyd and think that he's not worth it, they are being not heard. Like, nobody's hearing their side. No one cares to hear their side because everybody thinks that you should just go with the fact that George Floyd was murdered. And I believe he was murdered as well. But there might be somebody out there that disagrees. That's basically what I'm saying. That even though we all think that he was murdered, and then some people think that he had health issues already, and that that made things even worse. You know, so it's a lot of ways that we can look at this. It's a lot of ways. But I do understand that there's somebody that's going to disagree. It's going to disagree. Now, if I run across somebody that does disagree, I don't jump down their throat and be like, oh, you a coon, you're a self-hating person, or this, that, and the third, you can't speak against your own, and all that. And I'm like, well, there's freedom of speech. You do have a right to disagree. So I'm not with this cult thing where if somebody disagree, I'm going to call them a coon or say they're self-hating. I'm not going to go there because you have a right to have your own opinion. You know, and I don't want nobody telling me that my opinion is not valid because it's not in agreement with your opinion. But this is what's going on with George Floyd. I think Derek Chauvin, his wife, divorced him once she saw that video of him standing on George Floyd's neck. She divorced him, which rightfully so, that should happen. And then people are talking about the rapper Trina. They're dragging her because she said that the rioters in Dade County are acting like animals, like they just left the zoo, and that they should be on curfew at 5 p.m. and that they need to keep the streets clean of these animals. That's what she said. Now, Trick Daddy was trying to get her to understand that, you know, not everybody was looting and stuff like that, but she was not trying to hear that. Let's see what else happened. Then Mystica was online dragging Trina, asking Kaya to come out and drag Trina back to the cave she came from or something like that. So things are heating up for Miss Trina. And I'm like this, if that's her opinion, I can't say anything about it. That's what she thinks. Hey, will I still listen to her music? I don't listen to Trina music anyway, so it's not like I do anyway. I used to listen to her back in the day. But she has said a lot of things in the past that would make me think that something like that would come out of her mouth because of her past actions. I mean, things that she said in the past. She always tells people they're beneath her. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised that came out of her mouth. But that's basically what's going on right now. This is an update on George Floyd protest and George Floyd himself. I think Al Sharpton is speaking at George Floyd's funeral. Now, George Floyd's brother came out and said that the rioting is not going to bring his brother back. So